NYYST. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Swinging for the fences, knock it out the park. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Christian and Chris, of course SGR. This is New York, Yankee sports talk. Homie, New York, Yankee sports talk. Record, rain or shine, grab your shades and umbrellas. NYYST, you're hanging with the fellas.
Welcome back. This is episode 376 of the NYYST podcast. We're live here on NYY Underground. I'm your host, Christian, as always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
You?
Yeah, I know. I fucked that up.
You're fucked up, dude.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks here. I thought I was over it, and then it came back yesterday, so we're just going to try to get through the show tonight. SGR is still banged up from hanging with the Easter Bunny on Sunday.
Okay.
So he's not here.
You know who is here, though, watching? Right now, live?
Who?
Roro.
Roro in the flesh.
With Jack and my wife.
Nice.
So I have to keep it clean. PJ.
No, you don't.
I threw out 2 F-bombs already, and now I'm done.
That was a request from your mom?
No.
I was going to say, that doesn't seem like a Ro thing to do.
She's going to see how good you look, dude. I showed her fat pictures of you.
Yeah, well,
just
with
before.
This being sick for 3 weeks, I haven't been in the gym much, and I've just been pounding fucking Easter candy, so it's...
Okay.
Yeah, when you get sick, do you crave certain things?
Yeah, attention. Just need attention. That's all.
No, I mean, when I'm sick, especially when I get like a really bad head cold, like my body needs chocolate for some reason. I don't know what it is.
It's like you're on the rag.
I can't say that. Can't say that. That's offensive.
Okay.
So what you can do, though, is while we're in the chat here tonight live on NYY Underground, please like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're pushing to 25K. We're going to get there sooner than you guys think. We're already over 24K, I believe. And that's just it's been a wild growth just in the first week of the season here. And also, please subscribe to the NYYST podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. We're going to, this past week started our one exclusive Odyssey show a week. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And be sure to tell everybody that we are the official Yankee podcast of Odyssey. The ads have been just fast and furious, man.
Yeah,
it's just been wild. We got to give them a lot of credit. When they say they were going to promote the show, we're like, yeah. But they've really have gone out of their way to make sure that thing is going to work. So credit to Odyssey there.
Yeah, for sure. It's been pretty awesome. And it's been awesome, like, people hearing them and stuff. We appreciate you guys reaching out. It's been great, but I'd still be excited, but the fact that the Yankees are 6-1 in the opening week of all of this is just kind of the cherry on top.
Yeah, the Yanks are 6-1, wild win on a Wednesday afternoon there, late evening there. Juan Soto's a bum because he didn't do anything in Arizona. So, I'm surprised. To be honest with you, I'm surprised we didn't see any of those. He's not worth it. He was a fluke in Houston tweets.
Yeah,
but
like the send Judge down tweets.
Yeah, so Judge woke up on Wednesday with a home run and 3 RBI, so he starting to awaken here a little bit. Yanks are 6-1. There's not a lot that you could be really worried about thus far, although one big thing to worry about is the guy that's supposed to get the last 3 outs of the game, and that's Clay Holmes. I don't want to particularly blame Clay Holmes for blowing the game in the 10th yesterday. The Yankees did eventually score a couple runs in the 11th and held on to win, but
you can't blame him at all.
There's, Francis and I got into a little back and forth because after the E6, he did bounce one, allowed the tying run to get into to get to third
Scoring.
there.
Yeah.
So I get it. I didn't say he was wrong. I understand the argument, but also to me, if Volpe makes the play, we're not even talking about that. And then you saw him come back out in the 11th, and you saw everything that's wrong with Clay Holmes. Now, credit Boone, he went and got him. Because that's not a thing I think Boone would have done even last year. He would have stuck Clay Holmes out until the end. So, I've heard a lot of wild shit regarding Clay Holmes. You know, the ERA, the saves, he's not as bad as we all think he is. Listen, the fact of the matter is that the Yankees can do better than Clay Holmes in the ninth inning, and it's going to come back and get them sooner or later. It almost got him a couple times in Houston, and it almost got him again on Wednesday. But Boone actually went to the bullpen there in the 11th and was able to escape with the win.
You sound like it's fucking hurting you.
Yeah, it
to
is.
talk.
Just give me 1 second.
I'm gonna read this super chat while he does whatever the hell he's doing. From Jeff J. Thanks for the super chat. He said, "What's up, fellas? What are we doing with Gio? Are we trading for a starting pitcher? Does Volpe belong at the top of the order? KLK, NYYU 420. Yes, NYYU Day 420. It's sold out. Unfortunately, I will not be there. I don't know if SGR will be there. Christian will certainly be there. I'll answer the Volpe thing. I think it's only a matter of time before Volpe's in the leadoff spot. We just reading a super chat from Jeff J. Maybe you can help me encrypt this. Well, no, that would be the opposite. The first question is, what are we doing with Gio?
Who's Gio?
Urshela?
I don't know. I was watching him play for the Tigers today. So
yeah, maybe he means like, are we getting Gio? I don't know.
I don't think so. The Yankees got Birdie, so I think that's their plan for the utility role.
Yeah. Are we trading for a starting pitcher? Yeah, I mean, that time could come at the deadline. We got to see, and we got to see if Cole comes back strong. Volpe top of the lineup, and then his last one is KLK. KLK.
I have no idea. So if you want to leave another super chat and explain that, that would be great. That would be great.
Thanks, Jeff.
Greatly appreciated here.
So what I want to say,
this
real
is
quick,
definitely. I want to just apologize. It's definitely going to be a low T episode. I'm trying to fight through this, everybody. So just I do want to apologize.
You're dedicated. I want to start by saying that, people who aren't fully dialed in will look at Clay Holmes' stats and argue you based on going onto an app and looking at his numbers. You're watching a guy who the only way I can describe it right now, and I know Clay Holmes has had his really bright moments here. You got to go back to before we had these expectations of Clay Holmes. He really exceeded what we expected from him for a long time. But I can't help but to feel, and maybe I'm wrong, the best way to describe it is he gives me Chapman vibes. Like every time he's out there, I just am holding my breath in 1 or 2 run games because I just don't trust it's not that he's going to get hit hard. I don't trust his command.
Well, that's what it is.
Right? But that's just that, it's just that feeling that I get over and over. And, I'm sure we're going to dive into this more, but who are you going to replace him with? Because I tweeted and you tweeted, Ian Hamilton's my closer, but then you made a great point several minutes after his appearance ended that we're going to have to discuss, because I think that makes him, I think Ian Hamilton's more valuable in the role that they have him in than as a closer.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, think back to the Mariano Rivera days. He didn't get beat often, but when he did, it's because the batter beat him. Right?
Right.
Mariano Rivera never beat himself. He didn't walk a bunch of guys, throw 10 wild pitches, and lose a game. If he got beat, he got beat.
Right.
And that you can live with. Can't live with a guy walking the ballpark, moving runners over with wild pitches, and that's what you mean when you say that you get Chapman vibes from Holmes. But I started calling Hamilton G.I. Joe, but I think Pete has been calling him the Terminator because of the Hamilton connection, Linda Hamilton and the Terminator, Ian Hamilton.
Never saw
it. You never saw the Terminator?
Never will. I have no desire.
You have never seen the fucking Terminator?
Never have, never will. Probably a terrible movie.
I don't care for the original Terminator because the special effects are early 80s, so it doesn't hold up as well. Terminator 2 Judgment Day is one of the greatest action movies of all time.
I'm not a big action movie guy.
Well, you're also.
Low
I'm not gonna
taste.
say. You know what? Your mother's watching.
Not in front of my mother.
I'm not gonna say it in front of your mother. Okay.
Okay.
Um. What the?
The hell is that?
What is that?
Oh, that's Pete. Pete has his mic on. Scared the crap out of me. And Jira. Hi, Jira.
Hi. I thought that was Ro popping in for a minute.
So did I, dude. I was like, how the hell?
But we're gonna retire GI Joe, and we're gonna keep it team wide, and call him the Terminator. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been on the Ian Hamilton for closer committee for a couple weeks now, probably dating back to last year before he got hurt. But you saw yesterday, this guy threw 2 2/3, I believe, right? He got 8 outs yesterday. Under 30 pitches, quick, efficient, never got into trouble, just blowing through guys. I mean, if you're the Yankees, right? And we're going to give the Yankees a lot of credit here. Smarter Yankees. Have they not been smart 95% of the time throughout the first week of the season here?
Maybe more. Maybe more.
So, you know, what's more valuable to them? Knowing that this starting rotation is not going to give them length, especially right now, a guy that can be economical and pretty much devastating in the fashion that Ian Hamilton is, and you're gonna give that up for 3 outs?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to argue against his role right now. The Yankees have been desperate for a guy like Ian Hamilton for a long time, and again, I don't follow other teams as closely, but I can tell you confidently the Yankees utilize that role quite often throughout a 162 game
Well, it's
season.
also they have two guys in that role basically. It's Loizaga and Hamilton, so they're probably gonna use each other and
Okay, well, how long has Loizaga been doing this now? It kind of goes back to my point where Loizaga just hasn't found a home on this team. He hasn't found a role. I mean, there was talks where, we were excited he was the setup guy. There was talks that he could be the future closer. Now he's sharing that role with Ian Hamilton, and he's still just not the guy that you necessarily trust. You hope he becomes that guy this year, but I don't know. Old Sarge, real quick, super chat, thanks. Sarge, he said, Mo missed bats, but when he hit them, they shattered. That's true.
Jay in the chat goes, "Where's Marinaccio? He's waiting tables at a Denny's outside of Scranton. That's where he is right now." And I was a big Ron Ma guy, dude. You know that. I said that I came on here. I thought he could build himself into being the future closer, and the only thing he's doing is closing. He's the closing manager at Denny's right now, so that's his role. It's a shame. I liked Ron Ma, but I guess it's just not in the cards for him. If we do see him, he's going to be one of these Scranton shuttle guys.
Yeah, so I personally feel one of two things can happen by the trade deadline. I think either Jonathan Loizaga figures his shit out throughout the first half of the year where you're confident with him filling that role, or the Yankees go out. I don't know who necessarily would be available, but the Yankees go out and get someone, because I just don't see, especially with this team, if this team's going to fight and grind and be in a lot of close games where they're up late, I just don't see Clay Holmes being the long-term solution anymore.
All right, we got the super chat clarification from Jeff J here. I'm having a glass of wine. So KLK is KLK. What's up? You need to know this. Sorry, I'm a honky, so I don't know this.
Okay.
Also, I meant Giancarlo dead at bats NYYU 420. I'll see you. All right, you're going to be there, Jeff. I'll see you on 420. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to get to Giancarlo Stanton a little bit later on in the show here. Yeah. So I think the Yankees are going to ride out the Clay Holmes experience until the trade deadline and see what might come available to them. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Nestor Cortez, who, yes, is a bum. I'm sorry to say it. We gave him buckle down balls after opening day, but I'm not doing it again. Sorry. Not. I know he settled down after he allowed 3 runs in the first inning in the start against Arizona, but Boone was forced to go to the white flag relievers after that. And the Yankees lost their first and only game of the year, and they didn't score in that game either. So I can't keep absolving a guy for taking a shit on the mound in the first inning and then saying, oh, well, he settled down. Great. But I mean, if that's who Nestor is, that's who Nestor is. But the Yankees can do better than that. And I think once Cole gets back, we'll start to filter Nestor Cortez out of this rotation.
Yeah, I think it's just inevitable at this point. I'll always be softer on a guy who buckles down like that, whether you want to call it whatever you want. He did fucking find it and hold him down. But you're right. The consequences of that first inning trickle down beyond that first inning. And this is just a team. Maybe I'm wrong here, but this is just a team that they're too good for me to just sit here and just like be okay with a guy going out there and getting shelled in the first inning and thinking that the game's over.
Right,
I don't want that.
We got a super chat from Kyle Malay. Ian Hamilton needs to be the closer. End of discussion. Well, it's not. I just gave you the counterpoint to it, and I'm an Ian Hamilton for closer guy. So
we both are, but it just doesn't make sense. What he did the other day is exactly, you texted this to us, is exactly why he'll never be the closer, and he shouldn't be, as much as I want him to be. Because what he did the other day was something that not many teams have. They don't have a guy who can be that dominant for that many outs.
And there's a great point being made in the chat. I think this is from Matt. You started him on open. Excuse me. You started him on opening day, which means he's going to be slotted up against every other team's number one for right now. So maybe it's not in the best interest of the Yankees to have a guy out there against another team's ace that gives up 3 runs in the first inning.
Yeah. I mean, that changes so quickly. I'm not going to put too much. It's a great point. I mean, obviously, who did he go up against the other day? Gallen?
Yeah, Gallen.
I mean, Gallen's a great pitcher. And yeah, that's going to happen, but it's not going to happen for long. Once there's more off days in place and teams skipping spots and so on and so forth, it's not going to be necessarily true for much longer. But it's just the overall point. It's the feeling. You're not getting that feeling from anyone else in this rotation right now. And I don't even think if Clark Schmidt went out there and did what Nestor Cortez has done, I don't even think you'd get that feeling from him. I think it's because this is a guy the Yankees slotted to start opening day.
By default, basically.
By default, but still, Nestor was pitching like an ace a couple years ago. So you still go back to that. Maybe he can do this.
It's not there anymore. It's not there anymore.
It's just not. And that's the letdown. That's what I'm getting at. Where Clark Schmidt, you wouldn't feel that way.
He's trying
Nestor, you do, because you know what's underneath.
He's trying to throw flat 92-mile-an-hour fastballs inside the right-handers. He can't live like that. That's not who he is, man. And I don't know, man. You want to say he got bit by the pitch clock because of he can't do his dances anymore? I mean, if that's how you had success in Major League Baseball, I'm not surprised that the bloom fell off the rose.
Yeah, it's we talk about gimmicks all the time. And look, I'm not going to sit here and knock Nestor Cortez. Nestor Cortez gave this team way more than we could have ever expected. And like you said, I mean, we've been waiting for that other shoe to drop, and I think we're there. I'm almost positive we're there.
Yeah, so the Yankees are going to they're just going to ride Nestor Cortez out until Garrett Cole comes back, and then I guess reevaluate. And then I believe the same thing with Clay Holmes. They'll reevaluate come trade deadline. I mean, Cleveland's an interesting team to look out for because if they're not in it, Shane Bieber, you can rent for the rest of the year. And then I don't know what Class A's contract situation is, but I mean, if you could pick up Class A and Bieber at the trade deadline, wouldn't you say that's a big move there, going for it for the stretch run there?
If we're gonna assume that the and I think we should touch on the Yankee offense real quick. We're just going to assume that this team's going to be good enough to put the pieces together to not be out of any game, to constantly fight back. Then you'd have to imagine the two biggest things you can acquire at the deadline that make them built for a World Series is going to be a starter and a closer. So yeah, our boy, you want to read that super chat?
Go, you can do it because I gotta take a powder for a second here.
Okay, all right. Our boy Rob with the super chat. Thank you. He said, "I'm on the Nestor isn't a starter train, but would we be making a big deal of Nestor starts if Cole wasn't hurt and he was the Yankees' fifth starter?" Maybe. Maybe I would, because I saw him as a fifth starter at this point anyway. I like fifth starters. I guess I'm spoiled because we had Jordan Montgomery, who was just such a consistent guy taking the ball every 5 days. I don't see Nestor consistent and reliable anymore. And it's not just the runs given up. We saw Nestor run out of gas a couple years ago. That was the first thing. Then he got hurt. So, I mean, for me, I want my fifth starter to be a guy who's reliable. Even if he was the fifth starter, I'd still be giving him shit. For sure.
You know, Rod's got an interesting point. If Cole was healthy and Nestor was the 5, would we be as upset with his performance? And
I wouldn't be fighting to get him out of the rotation.
But before we even knew we were losing Cole, we wanted more starting pitching in this rotation.
That's exactly what I was just kind of saying. Is like, for me, I saw him as a fifth starter anyway, fourth or fifth starter anyway. So yeah, I don't think it would matter much of how I feel about him. I maybe wouldn't be fighting to get him out of the rotation so quickly. I'd probably,
I'm not really,
especially because he's found his shit and kept them in the game.
I can't really fight to get him out of rotation because the Yankees don't have an option to replace him. But he's not going to survive the season. I'm not backing off that.
Okay, I don't think you're wrong.
So the Yankees are 6-1. We shouldn't spend the first half hour of the show complaining, but we did.
I don't think it's complaining. I think that we have high expectations for this team, and it's been great to get off to a good start, but it's 7 games. I mean, the 1992 Yankees got off to a 5-0 start, and it's the last year that they finished under 500. So again, I'm not complaining by any means. This has been the most fun I've had watching the Yankees in the first week of a season that I can remember. And it's been amazing, and I'm enjoying every second of it. But it's not our job to sit here and go, this team's so good and great, and they're going to win it all. No, we got to look. We've been doing this long enough. We've been fans long enough to know where we have to focus. So because they're 6-1, we're taking this team seriously. And if we're going to take this team seriously, that means that we're envisioning them in the World Series this year. And if that's going to happen, we need to address the things that we feel are going to need to be addressed sooner rather than later.
So the Yankees through the first week of the season have played like they want us to take them seriously. So that changed the expectations, right? If they came out and they did what the Mets did and went 1-5 throughout the first week of the season, we'd be like, hey, this is not a serious organization right now. So
right.
But look, I want to touch on this real quick because I think it was Dirk in the chat that said, why is Boone keep denying wins to his starters? Number one, who cares? I mean, I'm not one of these new school nerds like, ooh, analytics and ooh, batting average and wins don't matter. I think wins do matter to a degree. I just don't think they're as important as they used to be. But so it doesn't matter if a guy doesn't get a W. And also, what is one of our biggest complaints about Aaron Boone? Leaving his pitchers in too long, not knowing when to get a hook?
Yeah,
right?
I never thought I'd say this a week into the season, but I just can't sit here and waste any energy complaining about Boone so far this year. I think he's been everything that we've been asking for. I'm not going to nitpick at that point.
I don't. I mean, if the Yankees are 6-1, who do you care has a W next to their name other than Yankees W, Team W?
I could see the argument if you want to make an argument for Heel getting a W just because he's a younger guy, but at the same time, you can make the same argument that they gotta if this guy is going to be as filthy as he looks and is coming off Tommy John, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Dirk.
Tommy
It
John.
would have mattered to Heel. Great. It would have mattered to him. It would have also mattered to him if he pitched the last 2 years. So excuse the Yankees for maybe taking it a little bit easy with this kid. He hasn't
Yeah,
pitched in 2 years. So if he's in a position later on in the season when the Yankees are feel like he's a little bit more built up to go an extra couple outs, okay. But I don't blame them in the kid's first start in 2 years if they take him out a little early. And again, like I'll be the first to admit, I wasn't fully in on the game on Monday. I was up, I was sleeping, I was up, I was sleeping. The game started at 9:40. So I mean, I catch a couple innings, I go to sleep for a couple innings, I wake up, I go back to sleep. Like that's my normal routine.
fair
But
weather fan.
yeah, I'm a fake fan, I guess. I guess I should resign my position from this podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do on a normal night. The only difference is I left the game on. So when I did wake up, I'd watch the game. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it was a bad hook. It was a good hook, other than the kid has not pitched in 2 years. So I'm not going to make a big deal out of that when the Yankees are. They can say there's no innings limit, but there's an innings limit on a guy that hasn't pitched in 2 years, and especially this is his first start in 2 years. So
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they're looking at pitch counts and stuff with him. Apparently, they are moving away from the innings limit now, but it has everything to do with the pitch count.
and it's my whole point. It's like, how far do you chase it? We pitched what, 4 2/3 innings, one more
Yeah.
batter. Well, what if he doesn't get him? You give him another batter. What if he doesn't get him? You give him another batter,
And then
now
he blows the game anyway.
right? So look, the Yankees are 6-1. I'm not gonna get on Aaron Boone for when he takes a guy out of the game. He keeps pitching well. He's gonna get his wins.
I think that just while we're on the topic, I'm beyond shocked at how well Boone has handled.
Oh shit! Did we lose Chris? Did we lose you, buddy? I guess I'll take over from here. Yeah, let's transition into something different here. And I guess the if there's one thing I kind of want to get on Aaron Boone a little bit about is that apparently he had a conversation with Alex Verdugo, and he told Doogie the dog that he can only wear one chain during the games. You know how much he likes to bling, Alex Verdugo. So listen, I said this earlier in the NYYU chat. Um, you do acquire Alex Verdugo because he is an improvement over what you had in the outfield last year. But he, at the same time, he's kind of a league average hitter. You're acquiring him because of the swag. So, I mean, I don't know why it's such a big deal that he likes to wear a bunch of chains during the game. So, I mean, that's kind of like things are changing, but at the same time, the Yankees have to be like, oh, we're the Yankees. Presentation matters type shit. So,
What are we on, Verdugo?
yeah, because Boone told him he can only wear one chain during while he's playing.
You didn't like that, huh?
No, I didn't really care for it because I think part of Verdugo's part of what Verdugo means to this team is the swag that he brings.
Fair.
So what I wanted to say about Verdugo is that he broke out yesterday with the home run in the 10th inning, a monster shot. Obviously, didn't end up being the game winner because the game got tied in the bottom of the 10th. But again, I'm gonna say this. This is like such an Andrew Benintendi thing again to me. It's like that's why I didn't put it at 100% for smarter Yankees, because this is the one Yankees thing that they're doing is they're so dead set on Glaber leading off and Verdugo hitting in the bottom of the lineup. And I think if you swap those two guys, you're going to get more out of each of them because neither one of them has really done much through the course of the first week of the season.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just a little distracted because I wanted to let Pete know I was back. I know it's annoying. effing internet keeps going out. But yeah, I mean, who were you talking about? Verdugo and who else?
Glaber.
Yeah. Verdugo for me, it kind of did it not suck a little bit that the Yankees couldn't just close it out after he hit that? I mean, obviously the moment was still great because if he doesn't do it, then the Yankees lose. But like just for him, man, did you see how happy he was? Like that's
Yeah.
I this guy. I say this all the time, but you know, it's not just talent that brings championships, man. It's that clubhouse culture, and I feel like the Yankees have a great balance right now of guys who are there to be leaders and to give you that class act of Yankee baseball, and guys who are there to kind of stir the pot a little bit and to make it fun and to embrace the wins and the big hits. And I'm here for it because, like I said, it's been too long now where the Yankees haven't won shit. And if this is what it takes to be hated again, I'm willing to accept it and embrace it at this point.
See, when we recorded after opening day, we said that it was such a statement. Actually, it was on our Odyssey show on Sunday. That we, after the Yankees swept, we actually said it, that it was such a statement to do that against the Houston Astros, and they backed it up by winning 2 out of 3 on the road against the team that was in the World Series last year. So the Yankees are 6-1 against 2 Final Four teams.
Right.
So it's not like they're playing the Royals and the A's. They did this against Houston and Arizona.
I'll tell you what, Arizona has a pretty nice team. They have a pretty nice team, and Gallen's a great pitcher, man.
Yeah, they have a nice team, Chris. They were in the World Series last year. So
but last year I didn't expect them to be there. I mean, I don't think many people did. And they kind of turned it on. Now you had Jordan Montgomery. I mean, who else did they add?
I don't care. Anyway, the point of the matter was that the Yankees are doing this against really good teams. So they're showing you that they should be taken seriously, as we said earlier on in the show.
Yes.
Right? So it's not here to complain or, well, we're going to be miserable for the sake of being miserable. The Yankees want us to take them seriously. So let's address what we think can get them to the World Series. So you know, 6-1, a lot of fans might be looking at it like, why are we going to mess with the lineup? Because do you feel that you've gotten the most out of Verdugo and Glaber through the first week of the season?
No, not at all. Yeah, you can make the argument you haven't gotten the most out of a lot of guys.
Outside of Volpe and, Soto took a back seat in this series against Arizona, nobody's really, Soto and Cabrera carried the team in Houston, right? And Volpe's kind of stayed at a certain level. But can you say anybody's really carried the team through the first week? It's like they've gotten.
No, and it's kind of nice at the same time. It's kind of nice that they've been able to have different heroes in different games. But again, it kind of goes back to what we're expecting after these past few years. We're starting to look at the holes and the Giancarlo Stantons of this lineup and Glaber leading off. We can kind of put the pieces together and predict what comes next at this point.
But there's 2 guys that I'm looking at right now, and I take Aaron Judge out of the equation. He came alive yesterday, but even if he didn't, there's not a guy I'm worrying about.
Never.
There's 2 guys I am worrying about, and that's Anthony Rizzo and Giancarlo Stanton.
Well, Rizzo looked a lot better yesterday.
And I'll tell you why I'm worried about Rizzo, because I feel if he is unconcussed, we should be getting much better at-bats out of him, although he did seem to drive the ball a little bit more yesterday. Maybe.
Yeah, he looked much better.
Maybe he'll come home and he'll find the porch a couple of times, get himself going. But, I mean, if he's healthy, I feel like there's more there. And Stanton, man, you know, we can come on here after he hits 3 home runs in a spring training game and tell you, oh, the SMD tour and blah blah blah. And it's all part of having fun and hyping up the season, but you got to be silly not to have your concerns about this guy.
I'm done. I'm done expecting anything from Stanton, and it's not Stanton that I'm blaming. And I'm not going to sit here and blame, like, bitch about the Yankees because, like I said, I'm not going to complain about the moves that they've made so far this year. This team's 6-1. It is what it is, but it's tough for me to come on here, and I'm not being like, I'm not whining about it. I'm just saying it's tough for me to come on here and rip Giancarlo Stanton when the guy hits a home run and then he's benched. So for me, it's like I want this guy to start being consistent again, and I feel like whenever the guy finally looks like he's getting a hold of it, he's benched, and that could do a lot of damage to a guy like him. He's a guy who DHs, Christian. He's not in the game every second. He's a guy who's already on the bench half the time. And then you just sit him, and it's like, I'm not blaming the Yankees, but I'm also not blaming Giancarlo Stanton at this point.
No, I'm blaming Giancarlo Stanton at this point.
Well, look, you get drafted then, and you struggle seeing the ball, and finally hit a home run, and then get benched, and then you tell me
Did he hit 191 last year?
That's a fair argument. That's why I'm saying I'm not blaming the Yankees, but I'm also, they've done this to him for how many years now?
Well, the GM
guy can go 2 for 3. He's a fucking DH, and then he's benched for some reason. So look, again, you're getting me to argue against the Yankees, and I didn't want to do that. All I'm saying is I'm not going to rip Stanton anymore. I don't expect him to be good anymore. I'd rather them move on at this point.
Well, they're not going to move on because it'd be silly to move on than to try to catch lightning in a bottle for a couple of weeks. And I think that if they're going to sit him once a series, I don't really have a problem with it if it keeps him on, if it keeps him healthy, and it keeps Judge healthy, because
then he should be the guy who's getting the spot starts, not the starter sitting after he hits a home run. That's all I'm arguing.
If he's playing 2/3 of the game, what do you want him to do? Play less? You're arguing for him to play more.
Why are you benching him?
Because I think they're trying to keep him healthy, right? Number one.
Why? But that's my point. Is like, I don't want to see him like that anymore.
So why don't you take him back?
Truly,
take him back behind the barn then.
Maybe you should break his fucking kneecaps.
Because number one, if the Yankees are figuring that every 6 games he gets 2 games off, and they can get 130 games out of him, I mean, they never get that out of him. So what's to argue that? And I think they want to limit the amount of time Aaron Judge is in center field, and they have a Gold Glove center fielder that they could play out there.
So if
Giancarlo Stanton is the one that becomes the expense of that, I don't have a problem with it.
Well, I think if you're trying to get anything Stanton has left, then he's not the guy that you can just bench after he hits a home run. He's just not the guy. And if that's the case, I'm not arguing you. I think what the Yankees are doing isn't necessarily stupid. I just don't think he's the guy that can do that. I don't think he's the guy who finally sees a good pitch, blasts the ball, it's one out, and then just sits on the bench cold the next day. I don't think he's that guy. And part of the proof of that is when G plays the outfield in games, he's a much better hitter when he's constantly out there. I just don't think G's the guy that you can do that with. So all I'm saying is if the Yankees want to get the most out of him, I don't think he's the guy you can just bench at the expense of Judge's health and his own health.
Would love to see the actual numbers on Judge Stanton in the outfield versus DH, because I think that is.
I would love for someone to pull that up.
I don't think that's wrong. I don't think it's as much of a thing as people think it is, that he should be playing the outfield every day because he's a better hitter. I don't think it's that there's that much disparity.
I don't think there's a pretty big gap, I'm pretty sure. But I still don't think it's worth having him out there. Even though I don't think he's a terrible outfielder, the Yankees just have too many good defensive outfielders at this point.
If the Yankees are going to pick one game a series to start Grisham in center field and Judge DH and put Stanton on the bench, I don't care.
No, I don't care either. That's what I'm saying. I'm just not going to expect anything from Stanton anymore.
You shouldn't, because he hit 190 last year.
Okay, then we need to stop batting him 4th or 5th and either get him out of this fucking lineup for good or stop batting him like he's a threat anymore, because he's not.
Well, that's part of why you moved Gleyber Torres down there and put an RBI guy in that 5 spot.
Maybe.
I like Gleyber Torres in a much better position to try to drive in runs than to be the table setter.
I'll say it right now, and I probably won't change my mind anytime soon. I hate Gleyber Torres batting leadoff. I absolutely hate it more than anything on this earth. And if the Yankees weren't 6-1, I'd probably be harping on this way more than I should.
You know what? It didn't work out. It's just one of those things. And everybody that wanted the Yankees to sign Patrick Corbin, he's been statistically the worst pitcher in Major League Baseball over the last 3 years. So
yeah,
I mean, sometimes things don't work out, but when you're gifted the reigning MVP and you have a chance to pair him with the guy that should have won the MVP, I mean, how do you say no to that?
Yeah. Hey, I still personally feel that Stanton has something left in there. I do. But I just don't know if he'll ever get it, if his role is going to be DH 100% and to be benched every 3-4 days. And that's just...
Well, unfortunately, because of the contract, the Yankees are going to try to get everything out of him because, everybody that cries luxury tax, the Yankees did release 2 guys that nobody wanted on the team last year, and their salaries are counting against the payroll this year. So,
yeah, well, we'll see.
I mean,
At the end look, it's so weird that we come on here and it sounds like we're talking about negative, like, it sounds like we're I'm not complaining at all. All I'm saying to you is it's 7 games. As excited as I am to come out here and just talk about how amazing this team has been is me not taking them seriously. And I think that's the main point we have to hit home. Is if we're going to take this team seriously, then it's great to be excited this past week. Like, it's could you, even with Soto and everything, could you imagine Cole going down and me telling you on this road trip the Yankees were going to start the season 6-1 before they even step foot in Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, without Aaron Judge showing up until Game 7, no, I can't even imagine it.
Right, exactly. So trust me, I'm ecstatic. For the first time in over a year, and I'm a diehard fan. I watch every pitch no matter what. For the first time in over a year, I can't wait to put my television on. I cannot wait to watch Yankee baseball again. That doesn't mean that we're not going to start picking apart. If we see this team as a World Series contender, then I'm going to analyze them as one. I'm not going to analyze them as a team who I'm excited that they won 6 out of their first 7. I'm going to analyze them as a fucking World Series team because that's where I see this team in the future. And that's a fucking truth. So if you don't like it, if you think this is a negative show, it's not. It's a realistic show where we can be excited, but we can also look at where this team needs to be when they get to the place that we expect them to be.
So we did say nice things. Ian Hamilton, the Terminator. We all love Ian Hamilton. And I think to close out the show here, a little dap to Carlos Rodón, man. We wanted him to get a little bit deeper into the game. He pitched into the 6th yesterday. Didn't have dominating stuff. He allowed 2 solo shots, 7 hits, walked a couple, only struck out 3, but he was more efficient. He was able to get himself deeper into the game, and I think that's kind of the progression of Carlos Rodón here. So
you know what I noticed of him real quick, and this is something that has been a huge concern for me. He didn't do it 100% of the time, but Did you notice him rearing back for that fastball?
Yeah, I did before he got taken out of the game, and he was leaving it high and away, so he had no control of it.
Okay, but before that, he had a couple big strikeouts on it. And I think that's why he got taken out of the game, because he lost complete control of it. But I noticed a couple times in big spots, again, even though he didn't look brilliant, I noticed that Rodón, when he was rearing back for that hard fastball, he actually was putting it by guys, which is something we really didn't see at all last year. And so once he starts honing in on that and really mastering that, he's going to go even deeper into games.
Yeah, so we told him, we said, it's your time to step up with Garrett Cole out and do the first two starts against two really good teams. I mean, the returns have been pretty good from Carlos Rodon.
We got a Ross super chat here. Ra, you're the man. We love you. Said, FYI, Verdugo has over 530 plus plate appearances, batting leadoff, and 750 plate appearances, batting second. Basically, he should be batting leadoff for the Yankees. Yeah, I think I think Verdugo's the guy right now. I think eventually, if Volpe keeps having the at bats that he's having, because he seems to have such a good eye and also be able to. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but one thing I noticed about Volpe this year already compared to last is with 2 strikes on him, he's shortening up his swing and he's punching the ball out and he's hitting it hard. And when I see a guy shorten up his swing like that and have an eye at the plate like he's had, that's leadoff material. So I think Verdugo's the guy for right now, but I think eventually if Volpe can prove that this is the kind of hitter he is, he's ultimately, I'd say by the end of the season, I'd be shocked. Unless Anthony Volpe falls off a cliff offensively, I'd be shocked if Volpe's not your leadoff hitter.
Yeah, I think at some point, but I would like to also see them be flexible.
Me too.
Depending on the pitching matchup.
Lefty, righty.
Exactly. So
yeah.
For the first time in 2024, the Yankees are going to be playing at Yankee Stadium. The home opener is tomorrow. Pete's going to have you guys covered all day here on NYYU. All Rise at 11 o'clock. And then Game Season Live at 1 for the call of the game. Marcus Stroman is going to take the ball for the Yankees in the home opener. Outside of Garrett Cole, I can't believe I'm saying this. I couldn't imagine being more excited seeing a guy take the ball in the home opener than Marcus Stroman.
You know, we didn't give him, and we're running longer than we even wanted to, but we didn't give Stroh love, man. He was great.
We did give him love.
Yeah, but I don't know if we gave him enough. I mean, could he be better? Yeah. And that's the best part, is that he could have been better. And would you say he was the best pitcher through the rotation so far?
Maybe.
You can argue Rodón in his second game, but Stroh looked great, and I'm so excited for this dude to take the ball tomorrow.
In Houston, it was 6 innings of 3 unearned runs. I mean, that's kind of, even if those runs were earned, that's kind of where I sit with Stroman, man. Just battle and battle, be a bulldog for 6 innings, right?
Yeah. I
think tomorrow it's going to be, I hope he's not too amped up in the beginning of the game and he keeps his emotions in check, because he's gonna soak it all in. So I'm hoping for a big game out of Stroman tomorrow.
Yeah, for sure. Opening day is always exciting at the stadium, so I think Stroh's the guy.
Opening day at the stadium is tomorrow, 1:05 with Marcus Stroman on the mound, and then Schmidt will take the ball at 7:05 on Saturday, and then they'll wrap up against the Blue Jays with Luis Gil at 1:30 on Sunday. And then just a scheduling note, the solar eclipse.
Okay, shut down the schools.
Did they really?
There's a lot of schools closing like half day. It's fucking wild.
All right, so the Yankees decided that it was going to be a good idea to play during the solar eclipse, and then today they announced that they are not going to play during the solar eclipse. Monday's game against Miami is now moved to 6 o'clock.
Okay, I'll just keep it, just because it's shorter show. I'll just keep it there. Okay.
So there you go. In case anybody was planning on going to the game on Monday, I know somebody that bought tickets because it was a good day to take the kids to the game, and now they can't because they
great
moved it.
Great.
Oh, go ahead. Chris is triggered.
No, it's cool. I'm good, man. As
All
long
right.
as the Yankees are winning.
So hopefully the Yankees can keep up their winning ways, take a series from the Toronto Blue Jays here, and keep it moving against Miami, who's not had a good start to the season here. But we've had a good start to the season here, and we want to keep it going. So hit the like button. If you've been in the chat all night, please do that. Subscribe to NYY Underground.
And if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to wherever you get your podcast, listen to podcasts. We are on Odyssey, any platform you get your podcast, because if you haven't already, you did miss a show in between this one. We're pretty much going to be on covering every series. So if you're not subscribed to us either on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, wherever you get your podcasts, then you're going to be missing at least one episode a week.
All right, so we'll be back here live on next Thursday, but we should also have a show in between, probably wrapping up the Toronto series. So please keep a lookout for that. We are the official Yankee podcast of Odyssey. The ads are playing. We are super pumped. It's going to be a big year for the NYYST podcast and NYY Underground. And it's, again, all thanks to you guys. Thank you for your continued support of NYYST and NYYU. Thank you for, what episode are we on here?
376.
Is it really?
Yeah.
We're going to hit 400 this season?
Yeah, man.
Crazy. All right. Thank you for listening and watching episode 376 of the NYYST podcast. Chris, say goodbye.
Peace.
It's heavy. Yeah, I gotta keep it trendy on my soul. I'm the most selfish person that I know. Here we go, down the rabbit hole. Got a couple carrots around my neck. Self-respect, when you out of line, you put yourself in check. They don't hear me, they don't hear me though. Cycles going round and round and round like a merry-go. Stand for truth, or fall for any old scenario. That's why I keep my circle smaller than a Cheerio. Cause it's the company you keep. Stay woke, please don't get caught sleep. End up sowing what you reap. Know your worth, and don't sell cheap. The ghost is inside of me, can't take it out of me.